Guys, it's Vandiazo back again with another Card Fight Vanguard deck profile. So if you guys enjoyed, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and join the Patreon. Let's get this one started. Today, we have Granblue, Pinot Noir, or just Pinot deck. As you know me, I liked almost nothing that came out of Legion. Like, there was one Legion deck in particular that I liked, and that was Blaster Joker. And the sole reason, and I do not kid you, the reason why I liked Blaster Joker was because it could destroy legions, as in the very thing I hated from Vanguard. So, you know, it says that much when the only reason why I liked one Legion deck was just because it was the hate deck to all of the Legion decks. So, yeah. But when they brought them back in V, besides Razors, which, I could have done something with. I'm still frustrated about that. Like, if Bushy, you know, Bushy, the next time you do it, I know you're not going to listen to me, and I know you're probably just going to go into, like, Bestiities, or maybe some other random grade 3. Maybe you're going to bring back Death Army. I don't really know. But if you can, do Razors next, bring back Phoenix Razor, and I will literally pay you to make them better. I will genuinely find a way to pay you, and with all the money that this channel gets, make them better. Please, I beg of you. I don't even care about Rages, but it feels sad seeing them die like that. I don't even care about witches, and yet even then I felt bad that they died like that. Come on, please. Anyways, Pinot Noir, I loved seeing, I like the pirate theme. I like swords, and these guys have swords. They're pirates. Two of my favorite things, kind of, well, pirates are my favorite things, but swords are my favorite things. So let's go ahead and get this started. That was very weird topic switching, but, yeah. Starter, Captain NightKid. This is my favorite starter. He is a little boy with a sword. As you know, I am sword boy, so I like this. 6k base, 10k shield, grade 0 with boost. Auto, when it's rode upon, draw a card if your opponent's Vanguard's a greater or greater. Get a quick shield ticket. Standard draw ability, and a way to get a quick shield ticket. Nothing too special about him. He's a nice grade 0 to have. Trigger-wise, we run 12 crits and 4 Mortal Mimic, 4 Night Spirit, and 4 Rampage Shade. I wish all of them had swords, but it's fine. Why you run the crit sentinel? This deck does enough milling. You do not need more. And, you know, crit sacking is a thing, especially because you can get more drive checks, so I'd rather have crit sentinel. So Rampage, say he's just the 30k sentinel. You know what sentinels do, you can't run more than 4. Good luck Strolling Banshees are heal with the 20k shield. I don't want Rick the Ghostie because it was already in Ghosties, and I also don't want the Heal Guardians because they're Heal Guardians. I don't need to explain anymore. That's literally my excuse from now on. I'm just going to say Heal Guardians, end of story. We're not going to go into discussion about this. On to our grade 1s. First up, the most hated grade 1 in my entire book, and it's not for the reason you think, most likely, unless you're the one person who knows why, before I tell the story. If you're that person, you know who the fuck I'm talking about. You know I'm talking about you. Anyways, 7k base, 10k shield, grade 1 with boost, skeleton Sea Navigator, at 2 copies. Add, rear, rest 2 rears. Put 5 cards on the top of your deck into the drop. I'm not saying that's bad. That's really good. It's a way to get your drop zone up. That's an easy way to just filter out and get most of your abilities off. Because Tommy the Ghostie Bros requires 5 cards on drop. That's an immediate Tommy. But, what I hate about this is the way someone used it. And it's not a way I lost against it. But, like, my friend who, I'm not so sure if we call it maining Granblue, but if they did, then it's cocytus of what they made, and I gave them Skeleton Sea Navigator as a form of consistency, like any average Joe would. He spams the shit out of it. And when I say spams the shit out of it, I mean he gives himself 2 turns to win, and every turn he uses a Navigator. And I constantly question why. Like, yeah, I've lost to him before, but when he's using cocytus. But I'm not saying this because I'm salty. I'm saying this because I question, why does he go so far and deck himself out when he could win? But also, like, I can recall this one game where me and my friends were testing the X for the first time, and he decided to give himself exactly 1 grade 3 turn to win, and both me and my friend, the person who was testing the X, thought he was bluffing. Yeah, he wasn't. He did like 4. How many navigators did he do? He did like 3 or 4, followed by cocytus, and just nearly decked himself out, and literally gave him the drive check to, or not even the drive check. He left himself with exactly 1 deck card, and afterwards he lost because past turn rules. But yeah, that's a thing. I have a grudge against this card because I can never play seriously when it's against him. So 2 copies. That's why it's here though. It can be useful. 3 copies of Troubadour, Cadaver, Alfio. 7k base, 10k shield, grade 1 with boost. Auto rear. When placed from hand, if you have 10 or more cards and drop, discard a card, counter charge 1, soul charge 1. Okay, this is not the Granblue deck that calls from drop. Ghosties can call from drop. Nightrose can call from drop. Cocytus can call from drop. Baskerk can call from drop. 7 Seas can somewhat call from drop. This cannot call, I mean it can, but it's not meant to. Like, there are 3 cards in here that can call from drop. And, no, there are 2 cards in here that can call from drop. One of them calls itself, and the other one calls straight from drop, and you get a selective mill out of it. So I feel it's most likely going to be called from hand. It's here for that soul charge, because you do soul blast a decent amount, and the counter charge, well, you counter blast more than you soul blast, so that's there, and it can also fill up the drop zone. So 3 copies. 3 copies of Tommy, the Ghostie Brothers. 10k base, no, 8k base, 10k shield, grade 1 with boost. Continues Vanderweer during your turn. If you have 5 or more cards in your drop, it gets +5. Okay, either guard really early, because that's really easy to attain in the deck, or just do 1 Navigator and you're good. And auto Vanderweer, when placed like a top 5, reveal to 1 grade 3 from one of them, put it to hand, shuffle the deck. If you put a card, you gotta discard 1. I use this to filter out my grade 3s. Typically, my backup grade 3. If I see the backup grade 3 from this, I will discard it. Like, in my eyes of G assisting, or in my eyes of a deck, if I cannot ride my main grade 3, if the whole purpose is to ride the main grade 3, like, if it's a test game or a game to showcase a card, I will genuinely grade lock myself just to showcase it. I have done it before. I did it on camera. I don't know when this video is going up. I don't know when this video is going up, but if my schedule is right, then the day before this goes up will be the Musketeer versus, a Pinot Noir game, and if it's not, well, spoiler alert, it's probably going to go up tomorrow or the same day as this. But, you couldn't see the hand, obviously, because I don't record the hands, but I grade locked myself. Just because I'd rather ride Pinot Noir, because the whole point was to showcase Pinot Noir rather than showcase my backup grade 3 of Nightrose. And in the end, I didn't have to GSS 4, which was a good thing. But I will do that. If you're playing against me and you see me discard the grade 3, that doesn't mean I have a copy in hand and I'd rather ride that. It means I would rather ride the thing I need to ride, so I'd rather grade lock myself. I have done it before, and it's one of the things my friend hates the most about me. But it's how I work, so deal with it. 3 copies of Tommy, because it fixed my horrible mistakes. 4 copies of Strolling Banshee. 8k base, 10k shield, grade 1 with boost. We're 7 minutes in, and I've just gone story time with almost half the grade 1s. Auto, when it's placed on Van, search your deck for up to 1 card, discard it, and shuffle your deck. So a way to mill out triggers, and a way to mill out your grade 3s to kind of recycle them. Auto rear, at the end of the battle that it attacked or boosted, you may discard 2 cards on top of deck. If 1 or more triggers were discarded from it, retire it and draw a card. So a way to mill triggers in this deck does mill triggers, and just a way to draw a card. So I like this card. 4 copies. Unfortunately, there's no story time for this one. 3 copies of Ruined Shade. 9k base, 5k shield, grade 2 with intercept. Auto Vanner rear. When it attacks, put the top 2 cards of your deck in a drop, and this unit gets +4 until end of battle. So a 13k swing and continues rear during your turn. If your drop zone has 10 or more cards, it gets +4. This deck's really easy to hit 10 drop zone cards with before grade 3. Like, I averagely hit 10 deck cards in drop before grade 3, so this is a 17k swing automatically. 3 copies of Ruined Shade, because he's a nice grade 2, and he's free, so worst case scenario, you can rely on him to get triggers and drop. 3 copies of Pirate Swordsman Colombard. He is here for selective milling and nothing else. 9k base, 5k shield, grade 2 with intercept. Auto Vannery, when placed, counterblast monsters after 1 card, put it to drop, shuffle your deck, and call it to 1 card from your drop zone to rear. You may only use this ability once per turn by a card with the same name as it once per turn. So it's a name once per turn. Here's what I do with this. I either use it to send Tommy to drop just so I can get 5k out of it, and I call it back almost immediately. I send this to drop and then call it right back because mill triggers. I call this just because it's a free mill. I've called this once just because I wanted the 5 mil out of it. Or typically I just send triggers or my main grade 3 so I can bounce it back with our next grade 2, which is Greed Shade. 9k base, 5k shield, grade 2 with intercept. Continues Van to rear. During your turn, if your drop zone has 10 or more cards, +5, really easy to hit. But auto rear, 1 place, discard a card from hand, put 2 cards on top of your deck in a drop, and return a card not named Greed Shade from your drop zone to hand. Okay, here's what I do with this deck. Call Colombard, or ride Colombard. Skill Colombard. Mill this, or mill my grade 3, call this straight from drop, use its skill, discard a card, mill 2, get the grade 3 right back, easy combo to ungrade lock myself. I will do that. If I would rather be grade locked and do that than ride Nightrose. I have no preference against Nightrose. In fact, Nightrose is one of my favorite Granblue grade 3s, but in the deck that's meant to be around based Pinot Noir, and in the games where I was trying to show it off, obviously I'd rather be grade blocked than not use my main grade 3. So, yeah, I will genuinely do this. This is not just a statement I've said. Like, we can go ask Mandala, and he will vouch for this entire statement. I have done it in almost every game I've played with this deck, so 4 copies of Greciae, because he can fix my so-called stupid errors. And 4 copies of our last grade 2 and our main grade 2, Pirate Belle Pinot Noir Blanc. 9k base, 5k shield, grade 2 with intercept, auto drop. When young Pirate Noble Pinot Noir on your van attacks, counterblast 1, retire a rear guard, draw a card, and call it to a front row rear guard circle. So a way to get more cards and drop, and a way to get a draw out of it. And continues rear guard circle, it cannot be attacked, and it gets plus 5k shield for every 3 triggers and drop. So, yeah, as you can see, you're focused on mainly milling triggers. This deck actually works with an early rush. So if you, early guarding rush. So if you want to go with the heal guardian, you can, but on all honesty, just pick the 20k shields. Like, those are going to stay in hand most likely. You'll see crits more than you'll see heals, I promise you that. Especially if you have my luck. So, easy way to get 5k shield, and, multi-attack. Like, this deck can get 5 attacks in a go. Like, Nightrose can. So, nice grade 2 to have. 4 copies, and they can't murder it by attacks. You have a free intercept. The only way they're murdering this is if they retire it, bind it, or lock it, or bounce it. So, or send it to Blanc. Either way, Belle is really a nice grade 2, 4 copies. Our grade 3s. 3 copies of Vampire Princess of Nightfog, Nightrose. I have no preference against this. The reason why it's here is because it is genuinely my second favorite grade 3 in Granblue. But, third favorite grade 3, or technically tied for second, because tied for second is also tied with Pinot Noir. The one favorite is actually the 7 Seas grade 3, whose name eludes me right now, Night Mist. I think its name is Night Mist. I'll check that later, but yeah, Nightrose, still a good grade 3 though. Grade 3, Twin Jet Protect Gift, 12k base, auto van, when your rear guard attacks or boost, it gets plus 5 for the battle, and retire that unit at the end of the battle. So a way to guarantee that it kind of hits force numbers, that it hits bigger numbers, and a way to fill up your drop zone for effects, and a way to open up board. And then its other ability, Auto Van, when it attacks, counterblast 1, choose a column, call up to 2 cards from drop to rear in that column, and if your opponent's vanguards are grade 3 or greater, it gets plus 10 for the battle. So I was wrong earlier. You can get only 4 attacks with this. Technically, yes, you can get 5 if you play it right. But, in the other deck, with Pinot Noir as the base, you can get 5 attacks out of it, so, slightly more. I know there's a build that went around that you can get a lot of. I don't remember if that was a premium build or a V build, but, yeah, it doesn't acquire in this deck. But, way to get... You can still get attacks out of it. You can get more power. If you want to go with the more powerful side of the build, I say go with Nightrose and then go into Pinot Noir and fill up, your drop zone and then go for big swings. But if you want to, in my personal opinion, go just Pinot Noir all the way. But I can definitely see you going, Nightrose in between. Because Nightrose is not a bad grade 3 to get stuck on. It's a really good grade 3 to get stuck on. So, 3 copies of it. 4 copies of Young Pirate Noble, Pinot Noir. Our main grade 3, our beautiful guy who has the moon in the background. I forgot to mention it with Blanc too, but yeah, if you know me, I'm a sucker for the moon. And I'm a sucker for swords. What does this thing have? It has Belle. We can both understand why it's the only reason why it's not tied for first with 7 Seas, because 7 Seas do hold a place in my heart. So, yeah, unfortunately for this gets shafted, but still a good grade 3. Anyways, 12k base, grade 3, Twin Giant Protect Gift. Continuous van during your turn. All of your front row units get plus 5 for every trigger in your drop. Oh, for every 3 triggers in drop. Okay, really easy to get. Max, this is gonna give plus plus 3 times 5. No, it's 6 times 5, right? Would it be 6 times 5? There's 3, then another 3, then another 3, then another 3, then, okay, 5 times 5, my bad. So 5 times 5, that'd be plus 25. Really easy to hit. I've never hit 15 triggers, but I've always hit 10 or 12, so, and even then, it's actually, I've only hit 12 anyways, but, Pinot Noir, really easy to get the big numbers on. Swing for really good, amazing grade 3, especially if you put them at 4 damage really early, they're in the bad situation. And then Auto Van, once per turn, when your Belle Pinot Blanc is placed on rear during your turn, Soul Boss 1, mill top 2 and activate all trigger effects from the discarded cards. So a way to get extra drive checks, so, crit sack, basically. There have been times where I've seen double crit and I'll just put them on rear to where, it's like how Luard works, where but all your rear guards have an extra crit and van swinging, and it's the only attack you can basically afford to take, but even then, you don't want to take it because an attack that might get a crit out of it, so you're in the situation where do you take it and risk it, or do you block all of them and leave you with nothing? And most of the time, you kind of want to block all of them unless you've done like high calculations that there's a small chance they're going to pull crits. Yeah, here, there's a trigger left. It's probably going to be a crit. If it's not, I'll be damned. So, Pinot Noir, nice grade 3, trigger sack all the way, and a way to get power. If it wasn't once per turn, this could be abused the shit out of, and a way to get big numbers really easily for a Protect deck, 4 of. Gift-wise, we run 4 Protect 1, 4 Protect 2. You're not going to really ride that much. I mean, you might, but like, if you're doing what I do, you're most likely going to ride 4 times, which is exactly what you need with these. Protect 1, when acquired, it goes to hand. You may only place it in the guard circle. Continue Sentinel, auto guard when placed. Discard card from hand. One of your units cannot be hit till end of battle. Nothing special about it, just a straight up PG. And when a Protect 2 is when acquired, you may put it on a rear guard circle. The unit on there gets plus 5k power permanently, and it gets plus 10k shield when it intercepts. So, it does stack. I would not suggest giving this to Pinot Blanc. It already has a big interceptor. Like, if you call 2 of them, go ahead, put it on Pinot Blanc. But, I suggest, like, you know, giving it to something else, especially if you're only going to call it once per turn. If you do what I do and call 2 a turn, then it's not really going to matter. I pick Protect 1 just because you want more shield. If you're playing like me, you're playing down triggers really quickly and constantly guarding with them early on, so you kind of want those Protect gifts for the late game. But, Protect 2, if you want to go with it just to get more power, I say go for it. But this deck can get enough power as this, so Protect 1 is probably the way to go. Quick Shield, when one of your units attack, it's plus 5k power for the battle. Nothing too special about it, just a standard Quick Shield. 1 copy. And that was the deck. So I hope you guys enjoyed. This was definitely a fun deck building and playing. I like getting to go back and forth with the grade 2s, get 5 attacks, get big numbers, get triggers and drop. A very interesting play because, you know, Granblue, if you played Granblue your entire life and you never milled a trigger from an effect, I will be damned. If that case is true, I want to meet you face to face and I want to ask you, how did you deck stack? Did you not shuffle, which is technically deck stacking? Did you pray to the gods not to mill deck cards? Did you sacrifice your blood to the demon horse god of the apocalypse and, I don't know, went to the 7 seas, prayed to the Cthulhu as you rode through the hardest of storms and saying let it go at the top of your lungs? I don't know what you did, but I would like to know if I'm remotely close with that bullshit story. Either way, I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, donate to the Patreon. It's definitely a fun deck to play. I suggest playing it for yourself. It's very unique, that's for damn sure. And just, that's it. So go join the Discord and go follow the Twitch, and I'll see you on the next one. Don't forget to stand up, your vanguards. Blanc.